Welcome everyone to Bonifabcustom. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a knife out of real forged carbon. Now, what do I mean by real forged carbon? So right here, this plate here that I have is actual real forged carbon. A lot of people have been saying they've been making forged carbon. Now, they're basically compressing it with resin, but real forged carbon is actually just compressed under, hundreds of thousands of pounds of pressure and thousands of degrees, if not over 5,000 degrees, to make the carbon basically adhere to itself. So, other words, this is also called a carbon-carbon piece of material. Now, you might have seen this, or it's widely used in high performance applications. So say brakes on high performance vehicles, and it's used all over parts of Formula One racing and GP racing motorcycles, especially in the brake part of it. Now there's also engine components made out of this carbon-carbon or forged carbon. Now that being said, you can't make this yourself. Again, you need thousands of pounds of hundreds of thousands of pounds of pressure and thousands of degrees to forge it to itself. Now, what does that mean for this material? So it's very dense, very hard, not as hard as or as tough as steel would be, but the difference is it can take thousands of degrees in temperature without deforming. A lot of uses for this is in high temperature tooling, where manufacturers need to locate a part that needs to be, say, heat treated or put into an oven to get welded, and they don't want deformation of the tooling, so this carbon-carbon or forged carbon is used. Now, I'm going to be making a knife out of this. This stuff in particular came from Japan. It's one of the manufacturers of a lot of this type of material. And again, because it's a special process that this is made from, it is very expensive material. Sometimes it could cost up to, say, something like this, which is about 3/8 material, 3/8 in thickness, could cost a couple $100 per square inch. This was donated to me, so I didn't pay for this, but I'm going to share with you how I'm going to make a real forged knife, carbon knife, out of this material here, this carbon-carbon. Again, I'm going to show you a little sample of putting this into the forge. Unlike a piece of carbon fiber or forged carbon with resin, it would just have a meltdown inside the oven. The carbon would stay, but the actual material used for laminating it together, like a resin, a polyester resin or an epoxy resin, would just melt apart and it would just fall apart to pieces. This here would not do that. Even if I put it in my forge at 2,500 degrees, it would turn red hot, but still be stable, will not deform, and will not come apart. So let's make a little design and then cut something out of this real forged carbon. Okay, so I got my little printed template. Feels pretty good. And it fits onto my carbon. And I'm just going to trace this out and then I can start cutting it out. Okay, let's see it, and like I said, now I'll cut it out. So just to give you an idea of how hot or how this is actual real forged carbon is, I'm going to put it in the forge for a little bit, and if it wasn't forged carbon, real forged carbon, it would just disintegrate, or the whatever was holding it together, like an epoxy or a resin, would just make it fall apart. It would never be able to take that kind of temperature, about 2,000, 2,500 degrees. Mind you, this can take 5,000 degrees. This is really nothing for it. We'll leave it in there for a few minutes.
5 minutes later.
So it's been a few minutes. Let's take a look. It's red hot. See right there? Still hard. Doesn't bend, doesn't move. That's real forged carbon. Didn't blister, nothing at all. So the knife is all cut out and shaped, and it looks pretty good. Now it will cut to a certain degree. Now the edge isn't like high carbon steel. It's not as tough as that. This is basically, it could take high temperatures. So would I make a knife like this for use? It's not really practical for that. Really, the practical application for forged carbon is really in, say, braking, in high performance. But that being said, it might not be practical for here on Earth. This would probably work a lot better in, say, outer space, if you needed a knife in outer space. That being said, it wouldn't bend, or it wouldn't be affected by the heat from the sun in outer space or vacuum. It wouldn't distort. So in that area, yes, it would probably be practical. But here on Earth, we have lower temperatures, and it doesn't make sense to have a knife made out of forged carbon like this. Now, it's pretty cool, I'd say, and I'll do a little bit of testing on it. Like I said, it can take very high temperature, and again, if you needed to cut something at very high temperature, this would probably do the job. Thanks again for watching Bonifabcustom as we made this real forged carbon knife out of forged carbon, or carbon-carbon. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and push that button for notifications for more videos like this one.